We lost it. I'd like to call this regular meeting, May 27th, to order. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting, and can we approve those?
Short and sweet, Jane. And I make a
All in
motion to
favor?
approve.
All in favor?
I missed the meeting. I actually read that. I'm like, oh, no.
Um, I don't think Mike is going to be here tonight because there was a conflict. Richard is coming in. Inventory of commercial spaces. Neil is not here. Chris, do you have the receipts for the 12 days of Christmas? That's on the agenda as per Simon. So
Yeah, you know, I got to talk to my wife. We have most of them, but not all of them. And I'm
Okay.
waiting to get a couple from Eric Keats actually for the raclette. So,
okay.
I know that's long overdue, but I'll circle back to everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And have you checked out the cost for the lighting of the tree down in Cornwall Bridge?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So perhaps by the next meeting, June.
Yes, June.
Sometime before December.
Exactly. Gary's not here. He's not on Zoom. Did we get a treasurer's report? Did he send anything?
I think you did.
He did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It must have just slithered right past me.
Okay. If I can quickly find it, I can give you the budget update. He sent this on May 16th. Whoops. Spend. I'm having trouble reading his. Sorry, hold on. Total spend is $6,437. So we have $62 left.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
Does that include some kind of estimate for the,
Yeah,
is that what?
I think so, because it says expected to be spent. So he's waiting for, right, he's pending the 12 days of Christmas, he's waiting for those receipts, porta potty, and the rural intelligence is included, but maybe we haven't
Right.
bought it yet. Yeah.
Right.
So pretty much spent the budget, and here we are in June, pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's good.
I think if the 12 days of Christmas aren't submitted pretty soon, it won't be in the budget.
Yeah.
You gotta get them in.
Chris,
Yeah,
Chris,
Chris, did you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I fronted all the money, so I know it's on me to get myself reimbursed.
Right. Okay.
With the porta potty, sorry, Gary's not here. So there was a request from a neighbor on River Road to have the porta potty location moved, and I forgot to notice myself. Oh, good.
Yeah, it was recently moved closer to where the ramp is, farther away from
Oh, good.
the house.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that seemed like a logical request.
Yeah.
Just make sure they always put it in the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where it was before too.
Yeah.
Closer
Okay.
to that ramp,
Okay.
Yeah,
out of the vision, direct vision of
Yeah.
neighbor, which is, mindful. Oh, social media content, Mayor.
I have a pair too.
I got seasick. Throw up.
Yeah, I have talked to Neil more recently. He was kind of, not engaged for a little while there, but he's still happy to help and do some
Right.
social posting. So we do have his help again. He was sort of on pause there for a while. So, but I did send out, you probably saw that I sent out an email to the business
Right.
owners to say, hey, we're trying to have more diversity of content, and it's hard to always get it. I mean, Neil is pretty good at finding different images on
Right.
different websites and posting things. But and I guess I would just say also, so I got a few responses so far from the business owners and or it could be the nonprofit organizations too.
Right.
I think it could be like I was thinking about how Explore Cornwall versus like the town website, Facebook and stuff like that. We do want it to be a little bit more like to people who don't know everything about Cornwall, but I think it's always also really nice to show all of the things that happen in a small town, even though, they are the local people or whatever. So I personally think it's great to share as much as we can about like little moments of people who make a difference in our town. So I'd like to try to do a little bit more of that, and hopefully we'll get some. We can also, I mean, if you guys, some people like to do social media, some people don't. I'm medium on it, but sometimes, a couple times, I just was involved in something, or I was at the market one day and I took a cute picture because they were willing to be in a picture. And if you guys ever get inspired to do things like that, you can absolutely send it to me if you have some picture of something that you saw that day or whatever. So I think as the EDC, we can also kind of think about that and what we want to put out there. And then I told the business owners also they can tag us so that it's easy for us to reshare it.
Right.
So we'll see what else we get.
Right.
Yeah, as we think about our strategy, I do a little bit of analysis of some of our current social channels in town. So Facebook is probably our largest social channel in town, just given our demographic, which is pretty typical in area towns like Cornwall. Our town Facebook page has 383 followers. Now, this is mostly geared towards town folk, where we highlight, different key events going on, different town news, updates, things like that. And this, out of this 383, I think it's going to be, for this particular page, it's mostly like locals, some Cornwall alum, maybe some Cornwall fans here and there, maybe a few visitors.
And what is it called, that one?
Yeah, so that one, that is called, it's a Facebook page, it's called Cornwall CT. And so that's like our town Facebook. There's also Explore Cornwall CT.
Right.
So that's our EDC page. So this is more like EDC related goals, such as attracting new visitors, repeat visitors, highlighting local businesses, as we know. So that one has 1,000 followers, and that's mostly a mix of area residents, businesses, people interested in visiting Cornwall, fans of Cornwall, that type of thing. Also in Facebook groups are a really important part when you think of marketing and promoting. So there's the Cornwall CT private Facebook group. Now this one has been probably around the longest out of any Cornwall Facebook group.
Is that the chatter? I'm sorry.
I'll get the chatter in just a minute.
There's so many that's like, it's good to review this.
Yeah. So the private Cornwall CT group, this one's been around the longest. It has 1.9 K members, so this one probably is the largest group. This tends to be more local people that have a connection or like a Cornwall vibe, that type of thing. Then there's Cornwall CT Chatter, which is the one that you just mentioned. That's kind of the last of the big Cornwall Facebook groups. This is another private group, and this is the newest, probably the newest, most business-centric Cornwall Facebook group. So this has 709 followers. Again, it tends to be more like business-centric types of posts, like promoting local businesses, people searching for and finding services, that type of thing. Also within the Facebook ecosystem, there's state and other regional groups as well, which can be great sources for marketing and things, like Northwest Corner Chatter. That's probably the largest kind of local regional Facebook group in this area. That actually has 19,000 followers, so it's quite a bit bigger than any Cornwall. So this is a great regional group for promoting things like events and that type of thing. You can literally, if you do a post in there that's successful, you can probably get it in front of like 5,000 to 10,000 local people in this area pretty quickly. So that's a super effective channel for promoting like larger events. There's also like larger groups like Visit CT, for instance, on Facebook, that has like 386,000 followers, as you might expect, being a more statewide entity. So for Instagram, that's another key social channel. That's probably number 2, I would say, in Cornwall at this point. So this is going to primarily focus, as we know, on more visually, driven content. So, which is just becoming an increasingly important channel, especially for the younger crowd, many of which have like disbanded or disowned Facebook type of thing. So currently, Cornwall, Just Explore Cornwall, has an Instagram account, which is our Instagram account, which has been quite successful. There's been 624 posts in the past It has over 1,800 followers. So that's very good to see, and we have a lot of success with some of those posts, especially on Instagram. There's also some Instagram like location pages is what they call for different kind of key like tagged areas like West Cornwall or like the covered bridge. So there's a West Cornwall location page that has over 12,000 tags and posts associated with it. So that's the area of Instagram. There's been a lot of buzz. There's also the Cornwall Community Network, which I'm sure you guys have also heard of. This is more of a public forum format on Groups.io. There's around 450 members of this. It's mostly all locals and some people with some kind of Cornwall connection. It's a popular place for things like public dialogue, finding services. It's very popular. You know, I'm looking for a roofer or an electrician, and also promoting local events. It can be a really effective channel. Probably less visitors than any of these other channels because people aren't. Although I have heard of people interested in Cornwall that have, you know, joined in and things like that. We also have town hall news. So this is a monthly kind of update of key municipal updates. So like town news, things, updates. We post that on the website, social, and then it also gets sent out to our list, our town list of people that we send to. So that's another channel. There's the Cornwall Chronicle, which is obviously a big player in the game, both digital and traditional print. So they have, they service around 1,100 Cornwall residents, plus 275 out of town subscribers, along with their pretty strong digital presence. They have 1,000 Facebook followers on their page, 1.3 thousand on Instagram. Some of the biggest, as we think of our strategy, I mean, certainly continuing to do a lot on Facebook, continuing to focus on Instagram will be key for us, as we know. But some emerging social channels out there, probably one of the biggest and what's probably becoming one of the largest search engines out there is YouTube. YouTube just continues to take hold, especially as like AI just continues to rise in a big way. Video is becoming a more important way to can tell a story, convey your message, have a more human approach. So one thing I've advocated for a while is that we look at developing like an Explore Cornwall type of video. I think that would serve us really good, you know, in terms of our YouTube presence and attracting visitors to town where they can quickly see an interactive video that provides like an overview that would be highly searchable, found on search engines, found on YouTube. And then Reddit actually is becoming another really popular one, mostly because Google is really starting to favor Reddit search results because, you know, it has a lot of benefits. You know, people that are trying to get more community driven insights are often using Reddit. So even looking at maybe doing a Reddit feed or something like that for Cornwall too, as we think of emerging channels. But I think YouTube would be key, and just continuing to engage on some of the key channels we've been working on. So that's just kind of a quick Cornwall social roundup of kind of some of the key channels, some of the key groups, and kind of what our social footprint looks like at this point. It's kind of a town.
Can you push that around to us?
Sure. Yeah.
Photocopies?
Yeah, actually, could you distribute that to the entire commission, because that was really useful.
Yeah.
Yes, email it.
Yeah, I can email it. I've got a digital
Okay.
copy. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Rocco. I think it. Go ahead. Okay.
So I can-
It is great to. Oh, sorry. Is it hard to hear us when we're back here? It's great to see how many messages are out there. Basically, the one thing that I've always been confused about, like the. So thank you for reviewing all of that. But the groups. In a group, anyone can post, right? So those have a very different, in those private groups like Cornwall CT and the other.
Generally, although with these private groups, you have to be a member. So
Right.
different groups have different expectations. Usually it's pretty easy to become a member,
Right.
but often if it's a well-moderated group, in order to post, you either have to be approved, or if it's a well-moderated, sometimes the moderator might see like a
Right,
training
and
or
they'll
take.
take something down.
Yeah.
But my question about it, which has a little bit to do with, not so much with redundancy, but to make sure that the EDC has a clear strategy and we know what, you know, what channels what we want to do on our channels, I guess I should say, versus other channels. Which the town one, which you can show me after the meeting, I can't find. Is that only populated by certain people of the town? Like, so whatever the Cornwall, Connecticut one that's like the official town one.
Yep, so the official town Facebook page is mostly managed by me, and then
Okay.
Jane Hall sometimes will
Okay.
post stuff on the
But
town
that, you
side.
won't get the like, hey, I'm doing this, hey, this business is open, hey, you won't get the.
Is that Explore Cornwall?
No, it's
No,
not, that's
this
what I
is
wanted
the
to clarify.
Cornwall CT Facebook page, which is more of the town Facebook page.
And not
Explore,
everyone can post on it, who's a member of it.
exactly, because
Okay.
it's just a Facebook page, it's not a private group where there's like a lot
Okay.
more options for that.
Right,
So it's basically a good way for us to syndicate kind of key town website content often, or key town events, that type of thing. We don't necessarily do like a lot of promoting of local businesses, as that's done more on the EDC, the town EDC
Right.
page. But to your point, there probably is some opportunity for some kind of cross pollination, or some thinking
Right.
about our overarching strategy, and kind of where some of these properties fall in the mix as part of like a more cohesive strategy.
okay.
We think so.
Who's the administrator of Explore?
Of ours, now I also have access, but it has been Neil
Right.
for just because it's his.
So what's interesting though is that there's 2024 events here.
Right.
That's what
What do
they
you
are.
want? What do you want?
I'm on Explore.
He's
Oh,
on
the
the
website now?
website.
Yes, that is, yeah, so,
So there's 2024 stuff, and there's only one 2025 event, which is kind of mixed in there.
right,
And so you kind of, when you look at this, you say, oh, it must be
right.
Oh, they
extinct.
I now do have the password for that, so we can. I don't know if we need to work this all out right now, or if there's a sub meeting or
Right.
something, I'm saying, but. I did get the password to go, I can also go in the back end of the website now.
Mhm.
I think, again, Neil was just a little bit MIA with this, he does the, out of the goodness of his heart and his interest in Cornwall,
Right.
so he just hadn't been focused on it for a while. But I now have both passwords for the social and for the website, and we can create some kind of, it is obviously difficult to keep these things up even when you're paid to do it, because these are jobs that people have, it's a very time consuming thing. So we could decide a few people who want to, work on it together or whatever.
Just in terms of the quick fix, if we just took it off, so it doesn't look like it's dormant. As
Right.
opposed to whether there's
Right.
anything on there, doesn't matter. It's if you have
And
those
that's
old
what
dates, it looks dormant.
Discuss, and I
Yeah.
feel like we need to do more updating on that, and.
Right. No, I agree, and now that I can get on the back end,
Right.
we can do it. I think
And
he
you can
doesn't
just
want to
update
take
it.
it off because all he has to do is go in and change the dates.
Right,
So he wants it all to show, and
But they are
then.
even-
So again, just take the dates off
Right,
and leave
Yeah.
the
Right.
blurbs
The events,
there,
right.
and eventually we'll get to that.
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But there are some events that don't really take place, and
Okay.
I had asked him too, the way he posts some of the businesses, there needed to be something realigned, and maybe we can do that.
okay.
I can assist too. I've done a lot of development in Squarespace, which I think is probably what that's on.
I
Squarespace
think it is, yeah.
versus Wix.
Okay.
No, it's
Well,
not
that's-
Squarespace, it is
Squarespace.
Squarespace, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
is there, one other technical question, because Neil and I were having this whole issue with the passwords and the emails, and it took him a while to figure it out, and again, now I am on, but is there, on the town website, do we still get sometimes things to info at like Cornwall EDC or something like that, a different, because the EDC email that's become official for our EDC is the one that's just Cornwall CT EDC at Gmail.
Yep.
So but there's I think another one out there that's connected to some of these accounts, and it was causing some confusion.
Yeah, there could be. I think we've used the Gmail one as of late, but I can look
Okay.
on the receipts for the form submissions that we have to see who's getting them.
Okay,
It
because
probably,
there might be some codes coming from Squarespace to that,
yeah.
because we couldn't figure out who was getting the code,
Mhm.
Anyway, okay,
Okay.
so,
My question is, Ralph, do you see anything unusual about the whole blurb, all the differentiation, the different sites, the amount of traffic or lack thereof? Does that seem, this is the second, you initially, or for a good part of your presentation, it was facts. This is how many people live, how many visits, this is what's happened, these are all the sites. Now I'm asking opinion, and maybe you would have some input into this too. Is that kind of what we would expect? in terms of numbers of people or where they're going? I mean, is there a lot of room? Well, hopefully there's plenty of room to add more people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We have an interesting structure here. It is similar to other towns where some towns might have more of a town-centric page, and then they'll have like a more explore type of page or website. So that's pretty typical among towns, but certainly there's good opportunity to continue to grow our social presence, looking at new platforms, just continuing to optimize some of our existing platforms, especially, the EDC site, trying to figure out how to kind of best integrate kind of the EDC with the town, because there could be some synergy probably with certain posts that might make sense. Like if it's a town post for a big key town event, to post that on EDC, on the EDC Explore Cornwall social media too. So I think it's pretty good. We have a few local groups. They tend to have a good amount in terms of like our Cornwall demographic, and looking at how many followers we have. I'd say it's pretty healthy for a town like us, but there's definitely room to continue to grow our presence.
If the EDC would have put some $300-400 into Google Ads or whatever and push this out a little bit, would we get some benefit from that? Is that something we should consider?
Perhaps, probably when you think about like advertising, probably if you're going to advertise key events or kind of market Cornwall, probably Facebook advertising would be a good candidate for that, because you can do a lot of like key demographic targeting. It's pretty low cost. You can reach several thousand people for $50 or whatever it is. Whereas if you think about Google advertising, that would be much more keyword focused on people exploring Cornwall, visiting Cornwall. You'd have probably a much higher cost per click for something like that. So it might not be as viable, especially if you already kind of own a lot of the key organic, results in Google. But that would be another channel you could think about. But Facebook would be a great advertising channel, probably.
In my experience with Instagram, which I have currently quit, but before I quit, I had over 3,000 followers on there, which is quite a lot. So, and in my experience, personally, and also other people I've spoken to about it, advertising was not the most effective way to spread the word. What works, and it requires a person who actually is acquainted and invested, is interacting. So in other words, that $300 or $400 would be better spent paying somebody to actually respond, to posts and comments and so on. That's how it grows, rather than advertising. Advertising is like throwing a bucket of water and it goes everywhere, but it doesn't land, sort of. Interactions really do.
Right.
Good content creation, having a strategy.
I was going to say, the most important thing is figuring out what our goal is, or our strategy. Like, are we just trying on the EDC? It would be different than the town. That's when the strategy would be different. Like, on the EDC, it would be more about getting the word out there about all the different businesses and attracting people to the town for all these various reasons, recreation, where the town's objectives and strategy might be very different, just to make sure people are informed, make sure people know that they have a voice, and whatever, that's the goal. So
focusing on what the EDC really wants to say is a step we need to actually take before we take action.
I would definitely say we shouldn't advertise and spend anything until we kind of have a better.
What about Cornwall do we want to make public?
Right. Yeah. That's something.
Well, that was a funny thing. Like, I don't know how many years ago that was. I think it's the Northwestern Planning Collaborative that came out with that slogan, "The Secret Corner." Sometimes when something is secret, it has much more of an allure. I mean, like dark entry. How many people do you think come to me and go, "Where is that? These," and
definitely that. Yeah,
I think it's all bogus. So yeah, sometimes you just don't want to. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting how that can also pull people in.
Yeah,
by it being sort of
I
harsh.
mean, you sort of thought it through for the we sort of distilled some bullet points.
Right, right,
And it just might be good to use it as a guide, you know,
yeah,
to focus some of these posts and things.
yeah.
So maybe for action items, we'll, over the next month, we'll kind of think about what some tenets of our social strategy maybe could be, and then come back and have a discussion.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Another thing just related, is I am involved in the Chronicle as well, and this discussion has come up, and Gordon might have something to say about all of this too, because of, you know, there's the line between, again, what the towns people just need to know versus what we're trying to do is different. But the Chronicle has sort of discussed, there's so much overlap with the calendar, obviously you're intimately involved in that, but it has discussed like getting the word out, for lack of a better phrase, in other ways too. Like I think they've thought about having emails, and you know, I just bring it up because I do think that there's a lot of different organizations that are doing different things in terms of content and messaging, and there could be a way to kind of bring us all together a little bit more, even though we have distinct missions and goals.
Yeah, especially I think the Chronicle, because I've seen a lot of work like on Instagram and Facebook, I think too.
They're trying to do more on Instagram and Facebook
because
for sure.
Really, that goes out to everyone. But you know, then you have that large percentage of people that never read anything anyway, and they'll be surprised. When did that take place? Where was that posted? You know, it's like, you know, you can put it in front of their nose.
Right.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Well, that's the problem.
That's
the problem
that's
I have.
real problem.
The problem I have with the groups now, like I do think groups are nice for various reasons, but there's so many posts because everyone can post. I don't follow because it's just too many. Where like that's very different from what we're trying to do in the EDC.
Yeah.
But so yeah.
And to follow up on that, we did have a discussion a few meetings ago about trying to do a calendar of, you know, the purely sort of entertainment, social events taking place in Cornwall, differentiating it from the calendar and the Chronicle, which really picks up all the municipal activity as well.
Right. I mean, the website highlights the main like attraction events, I would say. I think that's what Neil's initial why he set it up that way, like all of those highlights. So I can't say that there's like a calendar, but we do know which events are the ones that are sort of the premier reason to come to Cornwall that weekend or something.
I still wonder whether having, you know, one page which says on, I'm making this up, on August 2, we've got the rummage sale. You know, September 5, we've got Eat Cornwall. Just people can plan in advance.
Right. Okay. More to be discussed.
Okay. So time for the.
This is on the topic of publicizing the town. Some people here hadn't seen this thing, so I brought it, and I just wanted to point out, I'm not endorsing this as necessarily a good idea, but for instance, you know, Washington, Connecticut has a whole page on Washington, Connecticut with all their little, and you see that, you know, so that they have, I'm sure they paid a lot for it, but you know, they have 6 different sections and so on. This is for people who are not wanting to support more Zuckerberg getting it. So
Yeah, we spoke about that. We spoke
No, I
about
think
this.
it's important, stuff like that.
We spoke about this last month, and that page basically costs about $1,500. And when we started to talk, is there
You have to go around through each individual business in town that has, you know, potentially an interest in advertising and something like that, and create a group ad. I did that many eons ago for West Cornwall when I first sort of had my business, and back then it was the Litchfield County Times Magazine, and it was Michael Gallatley, who did all the graphics for that. It was beautiful, and it really pulled in people, and we all chipped in, and it was a large ad,
And
and that worked.
maybe
really well.
I'll look at this again, but I didn't feel the appetite for this at the last conversation
Well,
we
I
had
think you have
about
to-
doing.
But we were only talking to the business owners.
Exactly.
Right,
Not
right.
West Cornwall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a
I think you have to really like reach out to people. I mean, go around and see if there's interest, and then make an informed decision. If there's an interest from businesses to do something together.
I mean, I
I think
could
that-
see if McCarran Crystal and, Pink House, and, you could,
Right.
you know,
The electric bike guy has in there.
Yeah.
I think the electric bike company,
Yeah.
electric bike
Yeah, I
has
mean,
ads and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, if it's a group ad, it always is more attractive anyway, to bring people one way or another.
Mhm.
Each individual, I don't know, that's always much harder.
Mhm.
So if we did something, then it would have to be really cohesive and well designed too.
Yeah, it could look
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's,
There are two they're not new, but they're very involved at this point in time. What's now I'm going to call a convenience store at the gas station. All right. I met the gentleman who owns it. His name is Abraham. And they've redone the inside of that gas station. And there's actually real coffee there. There's actually real sandwiches there. There are actually real shelves. There's actually real milk. There's actually real, so it's not big like the Chestnut or, you know, something at the Sunoco. But if you need something at 10 o'clock at night, it's actually a place you can go and get
10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at night. So again, so they're becoming more and more aggressive, and you'll see a new sign, and you'll see that there's a building right next to a little part of it that will have business there. And I'm going to ask him if he wants to come address the market also.
Yeah.
Ivy, who's now Ivy Antiques, she's also very, from a marketing and business point of view, aggressive at this point in time. And I was hoping Mike would be here today because Ivy said she would speak with us in June. And can we have 2 speakers in June? Because otherwise it may not happen during the summer.
Right.
So
Why not?
there's a little
Yeah.
energy going on there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, you had that great idea last time, and I would suggest, I mean, just, go from, business to business, especially the ones that are listed on that card, and see what the feedback is, and then we can go from there, I think.
And do we have more of those cards?
Yeah, I have more.
Because they're all gone from Sharon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think they're in my other car. Unfortunately, I have
Well,
it.
something-
Sometimes they're in one card. Okay, I'll definitely bring it. So, dude,
But there's actually quite a collection of businesses down at Cornwall Bridge now between, the gas station you mentioned, the bakery, the antique shop, the market, Richards, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we're getting towards, much more of a critical mass.
Diversity.
actually,
Very
I
important.
bet the gas station, I never went to the gas station guy. Give him that card. I never went to the gas station guy with that card. That's a good idea.
He only bought it about 6 months ago.
Oh,
And he comes from a family that own dozens and dozens of convenience gas stations around New
So it's
York.
the new guy,
He
okay.
knows his job.
So,
Cool.
what's that?
He knows his job.
Yeah,
That's
and
So
it would be
so-
surprising when you
Like
walk in
to
there,
have
because
those
if you saw the other one, they were like,
yeah, day and night.
That's why they don't fill the propane anymore, maybe. That's what I found out.
Next is you, again.
All right, couple
Any
updates.
No
Um,
update.
yeah, so a couple weeks ago was the Hacks Covered Bridge Slalom event. So this is part of the New England Slalom Series. So this is probably the largest river recreational event of the year that takes place down in West Cornwall. So seemed to be a pretty good turnout this year. A lot of people camped out, good energy. Since we got so much rain, the water level was at a good height for it. And no one got hurt. So it was another safe and successful year for that, which was great. Our 250th subcommittee met to celebrate America 250 for the first time, which is the signing of the Declaration of Independence event, July 4th, 2026. So we're looking to do a muster day with a reenactor and kind of a whole camp, like a Revolutionary War type of camp, like in Cornwall, theme out on the green. That would be kind of like an example of what a regiment, say from Cornwall, could have been, or a camp, going to war. So that will be pretty cool. The Historical Society is also going to work on a big exhibit. We've also have a couple other members of the committee that are going to have, do some different events and different things as part of it. So we're making some good progress with that. That will be a big town and statewide event. The municipal waste woes continues here in the northwest corner, where we found out the Torrington transfer station was recently purchased by USA, which could lead to a garbage monopoly in the area, which has a lot of local leaders concerned about the ramifications, because we were working with the COG for more of a regional municipal option for our waste, which would provide probably better price control and things like that. So there's a little bit back to the drawing table with that to see what will shake out. The septic project update, we've now received several RFQs from well-qualified firms for the design of the new West Cornwall waste facility. So we were excited about that. We had a recent septic committee meeting, and we agreed to interview all 4 candidates as part of the process. But yeah, we were impressed pretty much with all the firms. There was a couple of larger, more national ones, a couple more like state, local focused firms with a lot of experience. Everyone seemed to have a good amount of experience with building this particular bioreactor membrane system. So that was good. So more to come on that. Let's see, Memorial Day was another big hit this year as part of their ceremonies. On Sunday, we did a really unique event where we did a rededication of the Revolutionary War, like plaques, so to speak, that were found. It's kind of an interesting story. They were found in a hayfield further down the road. Bill Deneen and Warren Stevens, who's our Revolutionary and Civil War reenactor guy, they did a lot of work to sandblast and fix them up. So we did a really cool rededication ceremony to rededicate those. Let's see, we had the traditional Memorial Day events, which went really good. The decorating of the graves in the Rattlesnake Cemetery, the Seaman's service, and then the main event, the parade at the town hall and the carnival. So it was a good event, and it's really one of those quintessential kind of Cornwall events. It still has a lot of character and small town life left in it. So that was good. Let's see, Hammond Beach is going to be opening soon. The town picnic is going to be June 16th this year. So that's always kind of one of the big kickoff events for the town beach. We're excited. Hopefully the water will warm up a little bit here. Still a bit cold. And then finally, I've got a commercial property roundup similar to what I did last time. So let's see, 18 Kent Road. So that's the post office and frame shop building, recently sold, it looks like, to a property management company within the last couple of months. So that's been some movement. 26 Kent Road South in Cornwall Bridge. This is a new one. So this is the old hardware store building. So this is now for sale. It's a great opportunity to own 2 large commercial buildings right along Route 7. So there's a lot of options for something like this in this, retail corridor of Cornwall Bridge. One building is 2,700 square feet, and the other one is 4,300 square feet. So that's quite a lot of square footage that could have host, a large business, several smaller businesses. There's a large paid parking area, and they average 3,300 cars per day, at least according to the
Do
real
you know
estate
what
listing.
the septic capacity of that property is?
I don't know what the septic situation is there. It's probably kind of a tight area in there, so I'm not 100% sure, but that would certainly be probably a big consideration of anyone that was looking at the property. A couple other developments is I saw recently 22 Kent Road South. So that's in Cornwall Bridge. That's oh yeah, this has been a while. This is the old Campbell shops in Cornwall. That's still listed for sale. 415 Sharon Goshen Turnpike looks like it's still for rent from what I could see. So that's Todd Piper's old place, the first level there.
The Union.
Yeah, Union, which is a great potential retail spot. And then this was the new one I saw recently listed, 10 River Road South. It looks like it's that lot adjacent to the old factory building, which was part of that tax lien sale. I believe it used to be owned by the utility company because it used to have that big above ground oil tank there. Scasco, yes. And so that's recent. I saw that listed for sale recently. It was a new listing. It's 1.76 acres. It's commercial industrial. It's in the general business zone, so it'd be suitable for a wide variety of potential uses. So that's that. And then finally, I had the website roundup, some of our top trending content. Our Memorial Day guide did 301 views, which we do every year just to promote the events and to give people a good chronicled timeline of what's going on. So that was very popular. The RSVP business listing continues to be very popular as it kind of serves as their proxy website and and they are a really notable, well-known place. The Explore the Covered Bridge page looks like it was number 3 here, which is a really popular one this time of year. We recently created a new page for town employment opportunities and board vacancies, which has already been effective. We've already gotten a couple of bites for people interested in some of their board vacancies. So that's a new page under the government section of the site that will have, because we are looking for I think we're still looking for some lifeguards down in Hammond Beach. We have a land use administrator position that's open, a couple other positions in the mix too. So we've been doing some work. So that's been popular. And then the Take a Hike page has been, the last of the top trending content, which is very popular, especially this time of year. So, yep.
Question on that hardware property. Is it a mixed use type of thing? Could it be residential and business in that property? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure what the zoning is for that. It could be possible, but I don't know enough of the details with that as to what could happen. I mean, if you think of like the Pink House, that was something that recently, had been zoned. I don't know what it was zoned for, but it could be a business. They recently put some apartments there. So I think if you're in the general business zone, there probably could be more flexibility for something like that, certainly than in other zoning areas of town, maybe. So, yeah.
But I think a lot hinges always on the septic, right?
Yeah, that would be a big factor. Yeah, septic. So.
And property lines.
Yeah. Anything else, Gordon, as part of our selectmen's report?
Yeah, you covered it pretty well. We are working still with trying to get a crosswalk put in Cornwall Bridge. So a few comments from changes suggested by DOT. So we're going back and forth with the market people and DOT on trying to get that going. I think that's sort of that. And then, we are making some strides on the West Cornwall septic thing. So hopefully that will, quicken the pace of that. So things are moving along.
Seems like Duncan was not able to stay on, but what about the sidewalk is West Cornwall or Cornwall Bridge, Gordon?
The current thing we're proposing is the sidewalk and crosswalk in Cornwall Bridge.
Right.
Trying to get that done first, and then we get that done, we'll get into West Cornwall. Because we know there's going to be considerable construction there when the sewer plant comes in. So we do have some funding for sidewalk improvements and a crosswalk in West Cornwall. So the main thing is trying to get the septic plans expedited, and then we'll get into the surface work in a while. But trying to get the Cornwall Bridge thing, as that seems to be a big traffic area.
Gordon, do you have like an overall idea how, far out the West Cornwall wastewater project is going to be?
Well, so it's broken up into three things. One is the environmental report, which review of the proposal, and we're closing in on finishing that section off. Second part is hiring design for the plant, and as Rocco said, we're interviewing some people that are specialized in these membrane bioreactor plants. So probably get somebody on board with that. And again, so design and permitting will probably take a year, and then once design and permits happen, we can go out to bid, and probably construction take another year after that. So optimistically, we're looking at probably 2 years of design, permitting, and construction, but we are making strides on getting a lot of the environmental review done, which again can really slow things down because there's going to be, state and federal sign off because this would discharge into the river. But we have a good partner in the National Park Service that attends all the meetings, and that's sort of a new thing, subject to funding cuts in Washington. But we have a good partner there to try to get through the permitting process, because we know we can have plans, but until we get all the sign-offs, the plans can't move forward. But again, I think things are sort of coming together there. But I would say at least a year of more design and permitting things before we can actually start go out to bid for construction, would be my guess.
Anything else from the meeting? Simon? Chris?
I didn't think so. The only thing we didn't cover on the agenda is I think we're one member short on the commission at the moment. We've got 9 members. We've historically had 10, so we should think about another candidate. And then if anyone's had any thoughts about that, whether we even need
Joanne. Didn't we have Joanne Torti at the guest, and I think she expressed interest.
She came several times.
Yep. Yeah, that was my thought too.
Right.
Did she ever follow up? She has to write a letter to the right.
And we told her that. I don't think she was
that.
supposed to copy me, and that I certainly haven't received it yet.
Her situation is still, she's still, in the phase of retiring from her position at ASAP. And until that is, finished, she really doesn't have the time to dedicate to this. So it could be a few months. Yeah.
That's right.
If we are
right, I know they have their big benefit coming up. I think.
Yeah.
She's in that.
She's in that.
Yeah. She's so taking her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring something up about Cornwall Days, but we can talk about it more next time if we're because Chris and I met a while ago. We haven't had a chance to reconnect, but we were thinking about Cornwall Days just being really focused on music, simplifying it in terms of just not trying to tie in with other events. We've tried a few different things with Cornwall Days, and that's fine. We learn something new every year. So sometime maybe in mid to late September could be just like, on a Friday night, there's music in West Cornwall, in Cornwall Bridge, at the market, maybe at the package store. On Saturday, there's music, and the Grumley Griffins could be again. Like that was a very well attended thing. So I had something written up that I'll share it next time.
Right.
So, but yeah,
I think we'll have
if there's
time.
September seems
like,
yeah, sure.
Right.
Okay. Then can I get a motion to end this meeting? to fini.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Right?
And it
All right,
is.
good night, everybody.
Good
Good night,
night.
thanks.
Good night. Thanks.
Are we on? Are we on? Can you show me